This PSA was brought to you by the Peter G Show.
You may have second thoughts after the show.
Don't drink the Foster. We're really talented. We should get Oscars.
Just pick out a car, for Christ's sake.
No, hi, my name is Peter.
Yeah, I want.
Here's good.
Yeah.
Adam Perry.
I need to get back in the genie bottle.
Louis from Pennsylvania, you're on. He likes it. It's showtime.
Peter G Show, Peter G Show, divorced dad, single dad, divorced dad, single dad, Peter G Show.
That's right, it's showtime. Right here, Peter G Show, Wednesday, God willing, every Wednesday, like clockwork, 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, and 9 p.m. on the East Coast. Right here. Uh-oh. What do I got going on here? Oh, yeah, I see it. I got one of my phones on and it's watching my show. It's like, uh-oh. Let's turn that one off. Listen to that. Okay. I think I finished. No, I'm still watching my own show. Okay. Which phone is it? I got 4 phones in front of me. Listen to that. Can you hear it? Let's just hear it. That's this one. Sorry, one's the bat phone. No, maybe it's this one. No, it's this phone. Hello? No, it's not that phone. Is it this phone? What am I listening to? I'm going to have to throw these phones away. Let's try it again. Okay. Wow, haven't had all of this. Usually I turn all the volumes down because that's a no. Anyway, let's try again. What am I listening to? This is crazy. Oh, there it is. Okay, it was phone number 3. Sorry. Still hot out. Must be the heat. Getting heat. We still have a little bit more time to go, folks. I was checking the weathers, and there's many more weeks of this weather that everybody's complaining about. But in a few more months, you'll be complaining about it's too cold. I can't believe I just could not figure out which phone I had the volume on. Well, that'll take me an hour and a half or 3 days to get over. I tend to carry stuff. Hope everybody's doing well. Can't tell you how grateful I am to be here. Could be a lot worse than my phone volume being on and me not knowing which one it is. That hasn't happened in a while. We got a great show tonight. Tonight, I have Miss Laura J. Wellington on the show. Author, blogger, commentary writer. She was on this show a few years ago. And she had just released a book, Careful What You Wish For. And, we talked mainly about that, but, I still follow a lot of my guests. And I've been seeing her writing through these other avenues now, and a lot of concern about our country and things like that. And, and that gets my ear because I don't know about you, but I think we got a hell of a mess. And I've been watching her. And so, I think everything happens for a reason, and she's just been drawing me in. And so I called her up and said, hey, long time no see. What you doing? Why don't you come on my show? And she said, sure. So that's what we're doing tonight. Laura J. Wellington on this show, and she's got a lot to talk about because I got a lot of questions for her. So stay tuned with that. Speaking of shows, hope you enjoyed last week. The mystical matchmaker, Miss Marla Martinson, was on. seems a lot of people like all this dating stuff because a lot of people are, a lot of people want love. I mean, who doesn't want to be, happy? I guess that's a good word, happy. And so she was on the show, had way too much to ask her because she was complicated. We'll have her on again sometime, but a lot of fun and a lot of, seeing it from her perspective. She puts together people, a lot of people make a lot of money and they don't have time to be, and plus as you get older, it's harder as, you're not hanging out in clubs and bars and high school and all that kind of stuff. So it's a whole different world, but I had a lot of fun with her last week. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you didn't get to see it, just go check it out. It's on demand. We'll talk about that in a second too. But while I'm talking about shows, also my last thing I want to remind you, coming up next week, mark this on your calendar. California family law attorney, children's book author. And I think she's really turning into a child and human rights activist too, because I've been following her too. Plus, I think she has the greatest slogan in the world. Marriage is grand, divorce is 100 grand. Miss Kelly Chang Rickard is going to be on this show. Yeah, divorce is 100 grand if you're lucky. Sucks, but it's true. Hi, my name is Peter. Anyway, she's a plethora of information, and I've been following her too because she was on the show. I just happened to be getting into this kick about, like, you know what? I want to talk to some of these people because I realize in a couple of year time period how much has changed, especially during the pandemic and all this, and we operate differently. And a lot of people have just, lives, things change in your life. And Kelly Chang Rickard, same thing, family law attorney. She's out there putting out a lot of things and getting very vocal about human rights and children activists and child trafficking, which I'm going to go into for a second also, because these are things that we just don't see, but it truly exists and it's horrific. It rips my heart out. I just don't understand this stuff, but I need to just, do my part and let's be aware of this whole thing. But she's going to be on the show Wednesday, August 16th, right here. Family law attorney, child book author, human rights advocate, as far as I'm concerned, and the greatest slogan in the world: marriage is grand, divorce is 100 grand. Family law attorney, Miss Kelly Chang Rickard, going to be on this show, so you're not going to want to miss that one. All right. Speaking of missing, I'll ask you to go to my YouTube, and if you like what you're seeing, even if you don't like what you're seeing, go to my YouTube and just Google Peter G Show on YouTube and just hit the subscribe button. It's absolutely free, folks. Painless. Take a second. Just hit the subscribe button. I have to move the needle with these guys because they are killing me. So just go and hit the subscribe. It'll notify you every time there's a live show, and it's free. Okay? You can watch the show from there. There's 300 plus shows on YouTube. But all the short form YouTube stuff is not, all the short form clips are not on there, but all the full length shows are right there. You can pick and choose. Speaking of picking and choosing, if you're too busy to watch the show, but you want to watch, but you can't because you're commuting in your car, you're at work, and we all know work is boring. Put an earbud in your ear. Google Peter G Show Podcast. We're on 25 or 27 different platforms, all the biggies: Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Just Peter G Show. Take the show on the road with you. Put an earbud in your ear, and you can pick a topic or stay current with us, and you can listen to the show. I love the visual because sometimes, I'm very conscious about the podcast, trying to make it to where it's understandable. But once in a while, there's things that you kind of need to see, but you can always go watch it later. But listening to it, next best thing to being there. Promise. It's damn exciting stuff. Entertainment with a purpose. I promise to try to deliver something despite of my phones going off and all that kind of stuff. So please go do that. And I had mentioned a second ago about child trafficking and things like that. I want to remind you that that's my dog. That was last week's show, 2 weeks ago. I want to remind you, Sound of Freedom movie is still going strong. If you haven't seen this movie, I urge you to make an effort to go see it. Hollywood and all the moguls do not want you to know about this kind of stuff. The press, they're not giving it any press, but it's blowing all these movies out of the water. If you're going to waste your money on some senseless Barbie movies, go see something that is happening in our lifetime, which is just unfathomable. You just can't believe that these things are going on around us, but it's going on. And maybe it didn't hit close to home in your family or something, but I promise you, all these things affect everything. It's a chain reaction. Go see this movie, Sound of Freedom. One way or another, it will change your mindset, change your life, change the way you think. And we need to be more aware, people, even if it's not in your neighborhood or affecting you. You need to know, because imagine if this was your family, your children. And again, this is happening all around us. You just don't see it. So please, while it's around, go and see the movie. And it even says you can get free tickets, but they're killing it, because people are becoming aware of this. And my daughter went and saw the movie and called me and says, "Dad, I'm willing to go see the movie again with you." It's mind-boggling. So please go see this movie. Can't say that enough. I get nothing for talking about it except the satisfaction that I'm just trying to do a little good. We're going to be back in just about a minute. I want to hear from after we hear from my good friends over at Clean Star Products with their money-saving DX1 driver fuel economy fuel additive, and we'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Tyrone Thompson of CleanStarProducts.com. This is DX1 Driver in the news, and here's what our friends have to say.
So I'm here to recap on the DX1 I've used. I put it in the oil and I put it in the gas. While I'm using it just for about 3 tanks. Cleaned everything out. I got every ounce of power back in my truck.
When Jared's truck was new, it had a lot of power. Then over time, it began to slow down. He got it all back with our DX1 Driver program.
Something you got to see for yourself. It's a great product. It's affordable. And it blows all the other additives and esters out of the water.
DX1 Driver is the finest oil in the world from a California environmental company. It goes into the fuel system and the oil. It's the only green grade product qualified for the carbon credits program, giving you better fuel mileage, lower emissions, and increased horsepower. So join the fuel savings revolution today. Go to CleanStarProducts.com/shop.
That's right, Clean Star Products. Let me tell you, they actually have a product that works. It just makes sense to save money. If you want to talk to these guys, go to www.cleanstarproducts. They'll answer you back. They're good people. And again, they know what I do and they still sponsor me. So who could ask for more than that? Hey, and mention that you saw it on the Peter G Show. That might help. At least they know I'm doing something. Uno momento. Woo! Smooth. All right, the moments you've been waiting for, in the wings, anxiously awaiting. I have Miss Laura J. Wellington ready to come on. So without further ado, hi.
Hi. How are you, Peter?
Sorry for the wait. I had a few technical difficulties.
I saw.
Yeah. If you, like I said, if you only knew what's going on around me, but my phones is like, I'm pretty good about making sure everything is turned down and turned off, but I have several of them. And anyway, could be worse. How are you?
I'm busy.
Yeah?
Busy.
Well, that's what we're going to talk about. You being busy, because I've been watching you.
Uh-huh.
And you've, from considering the last conversation that we had, 2.5 years ago,
Yeah.
a lot, it seems like you've expanded your horizons on, what you're talking about publicly.
Yeah.
And so let's give everybody a quick little catch up. Why don't you just take a minute and say hello to everybody and tell them, who you are and what you've been doing or what you're doing now, and we'll take it from there. How about that?
Okay. So I'm Laura Wellington. I'm an author. I'm an award-winning children's television series creator. I spoke at TEDx. I am an app creator, and I've written a number of books. And now I'm also, I'm a blogger. I've been a blogger for many years. And now I'm a commentary writer for the Western Journal. So I've expanded for sure, and wear many hats, and I love everything that I do. The commentary writer piece of it just came around the corner within the last month. So
Really?
something new for me.
It just seems like you have your hands in a lot of different areas, and so that seems like a 24/7, constant wash, rinse, repeat every day.
It really is, but I love it because, like I said, it keeps me interested in things. Keeps me current. I like being able to have my fingers in different pots. And ultimately, at the end of the day, in my world, it sort of all fits together because it's either media, entertainment, or tech, and those, effortlessly come together. So, yeah, I'm good, but I'm never for a loss of something to do.
Wow. Are you a good typist?
I used to be.
Let me give you an example. I'm not. I'm a two-finger. I'm quick, but I don't utilize like a piano player all my fingers, and
Okay.
therefore I am not, very, very good. And it takes me longer. And sometimes I'm typing, thinking I'm spelling a word in my head, and then I reread it, and it is completely not even the word. I'm going, how did that translate from my brain to my fingers and spell that correctly? Not even a mistake of the word I was trying to spell. So it's harder, like to be a blogger, to be a writer or a co-writer, things like that. You have to write a lot, so it demands you at the keyboard a lot. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely at the keyboard a lot, but I do use, the Google spell check because the reality is you don't want to turn something in that has I don't want to turn something in that has mistakes. And a lot of times I'm writing pretty complex pieces, especially now. So I have to sort of the way I do it is I write and let it sit for a second or two. Maybe walk away, come back with a new thought, add to it. It's not just a free flow of some writers do that. They can sit down and 2 hours later they come out with this magnificent piece. That's not me because I like to think through it and grab a little bit here and there and really just create a unique piece that people want to finish to the end. That's what I look to do.
Well, you just said that you don't work at the keyboard a lot. How do you do it?
Oh, I do work at the keyboard a lot, but I just make sure I use all of the available tools to make sure I come out with a solid piece. So
I'll tell you, that's the one biggest reason why I don't have a book yet is because I don't want to sit down and do that because it's grueling to me. It's almost like torture. Yeah.
You're like my brother. He says the same thing.
Yeah.
My life is his nightmare, he says.
Because I've never been, even when I was in school, I was not that school kid. I knew it, and I wanted to go play music, and I knew that too. But that's the whole thing is sitting down. I have a couple of these. I get approached by some of these magazines, and it's kind of cool that they want you to do an article, but it's almost like a do-it-yourself article they want you to do.
Oh, a lot of times they do that. Yeah, I don't understand that.
And I hate it because it's grueling because I tend to get too involved. You know what I mean? And can't I just tell you? I mean, that's your job, but everybody's finding the easy way out now.
But that's a lazy way of doing something. For me, I think the story, and that can go from whether it's for a children's series or book that I'm doing, or for a political site, or if it's for like a film of some sort, right? The story is so captivating to me that to have the opportunity to create it, I get jazzed about that. So I don't want to turn that over to other people. I want to connect with that other person or connect with the topic or connect and then create the story, because it's just such an incredible thing to be able to do, to take an idea, put it in a way that people will relate to it. I love that whole process. So I'm a writer at heart. I'm a communicator at heart.
I just see, I looked at, I'm looking in LinkedIn and there's like some of these jobs, so to speak, because it just comes up for show host stuff. And out of curiosity, I go and look, and it's almost like they're wanting you to create. You got to create it. You got to write your own copy. It's like, it's not being a host. You're being the everything. And then that maybe depending on how it works out, they're going to pay you, And so there's a lot of this do-it-yourself stuff, and I just don't get it. And I don't like saying no to, people wanting to publish me, but sometimes, I just don't have the time for that kind of thing. And, it's like a questionnaire you're filling out.
Yeah. No, well, Peter, you have a life and you're doing the show, and just doing the show alone, everything that goes into doing a show like this, it takes time. So, and then you have other work and whatnot. So, you have to decide where you want to put your time, right? What's it worth it to you? Which is, what I definitely, over the last few years, 2 years since I last spoke with you, have been thinking about, and deciding upon where do I actually want to go, because I'm grateful for all the opportunity that I have, and I'm grateful for I feel blessed that I have the talent to be able to meet these things. But it's more like, where are my talents used best? And it's not just a money thing anymore for me, because I'm very well set there. It's more of, how can I contribute the best way to make the greatest amount of impact, as crazy as it sounds, for humankind, because I still do believe in humanity in a very large way. And I still really do believe in wonderful people. And I think there are many, many wonderful people out there. So
See, I believe in everything that you're saying, correct. I feel the same way. Unfortunately, it does take money to be in the position to, be able to call your own shots and things like that. It's not, without money I could not be sitting here if money wasn't being spent to put me in this.
Right.
And so it's, unfortunately, nowadays anybody can pick up a phone and go live on something. And some people, God bless them, I don't know, they in their rawest form are killing it, but
Right.
I don't have that luck. I have to work really hard for me, Okay.
Well,
Let's go back. I want to start when we talked a couple of years ago. You were promoting your book, Careful What You Wish For.
right.
How did that all go since now that we're up to this spot?
So it went very well, and the book is obviously still selling. And I just really, really started getting bites on to potentially turning it into a film. So that's taken. Obviously, I think it's such a wonderful story, and I think it's an incredible romance, a story of romance. And hope, and a tragedy to triumph story that I could see it very much in film form. And I think that's a lost category today. When you look at films today, there's really very few of that, and yet the demand has not changed. So I'm in the middle of moving down that path. Also created a new series concept for kids that this series concept is so unique. No one is doing anything like it out there, and I can confidently say that. And it's very timely too. So I just really finalized that concept, and I've started having meetings on it. I'm actually setting up my first meeting about the concept with a really great company that I've always wanted to work with. So we'll see where that goes. But I think it's an important series, and it's really, really unique. Really, really, like I said, no one's doing anything like it, but it's going to resonate and it's needed. And then I created an app. I designed and created an app over the last 2 years, which we just really recently launched. It came out to Android the end of December 2022. And it's called Sneaks. And it's ironic because right after I created it, maybe a month or two following, the U.S. Surgeon General came out and raised the flag on the very issue that the app goes to solve. And that is the epidemic we have of loneliness. And the Surgeon General had dealt in his own life with tremendous loneliness and during periods. And he saw the impact on his own life during those moments. He also saw how it was impacting our nation. And so what Sneaks does is it brings people together. It fosters new friendships through the act of walking. And so it introduces people who enjoy going outside for a walk, but don't know who to walk with. And it's nice to take walks by yourself, but it's also nice to take walks with friends, because part of having a great walk is having a great talk. And I think people are really missing that social aspect of their lives beyond the screen. But now, because we are so adapted to the screen, that it's very hard to know, like, to just go outside and meet people. And especially during certain periods in their lives when, maybe they've gone through a divorce, and, now their friend groups are changing. Maybe they've lost a spouse. Maybe they've moved. Maybe they're empty nesters now, and life is changing. And certainly it changed during the pandemic, and that hasn't stopped. So I really want to give people a means to be able to meet and develop these new friendships. And I think they're going to be just as important 2 years from now as it is today. So, it's just right now. It's in the final stages of approval for the for the iPhone. We are approved through the Google Play Store, and we're doing quite well. So we've got a lot of media attention on us, which has been nice too. So yeah, that's been something I've been very involved in over the last 2 years. And, it was interesting to put it together, because it wasn't unlike when you're editing a book, because you're looking through every little aspect that could go wrong. You're finding it. And so, it's something, again, quite unique and very much needed. And that's one of the talents I seem to have throughout my life, is that I identify things that are needed and I fill that hole. And so I'm fortunate there. And then, the Western Journal, it was interesting, that fell into my lap. I had written a piece crossing politics with religion, and it ended up in the hands of one of the major editors over there, and he loved it, and he asked me if I would consider writing for them on a regular basis. And so I thought about it for a while. I spoke with them for a little bit, and I ultimately decided, I could contribute my voice in a way that might be able to cover the various topics that are out there, that are, the things that are happening, in a way that's sort of very relatable, very direct, very down to earth, and maybe possibly, able to be heard. I wanted to be the voice of the regular person. I just wanted to say what people were thinking, and I wanted to do it in a way that maybe it could help people understand both sides of the aisle. So that's my goal with this, and I've had a lot of great response. I mean, incredible response, not only from various people reading me in the industry, but also just the regular person out on the street that is reading me and saying, "Hey, thank you for saying what I've been thinking." And I didn't want to do it in a way that was attacking. I wanted to do it in a way where it could be heard. So.
We're going to break all this down, because I have questions, but I mean, also you have something that I've been following you on, as this Thread MB. What is that?
So that's my long-term blog. I started that in 2015, and it's gone through various variations. Basically, what I do is I flip the stories that I'm writing during the week on Thread MB. I've done a number of interviews over the years, great names, and it's where my work is, and where you can find everything and anything and me, how to get in touch and whatnot. So that's Thread MB.
Here's what I want to go back to your new app called Sneaks, right?
Yeah.
Sneaks, spelled uniquely. How's that spelled? ZNEEKS?
ZNEEX.
X. My apologies.
That's okay.
So I'm an avid walker because I don't, I'm having to because I need to keep my wind up, and I live in this semi-hilly, and we have 15-foot sidewalks, and and it's a great place to walk, and so I utilize it. Now, I was doing this before the pandemic and all that, but would you say that this app could kind of hit you because of the everybody getting shut in? I mean, how did what not kick this whole thing off?
Well, that's exactly it. I think we spoke on my last on the show with you that I lost my husband to cancer when I was 35, and that put me in a unique position to understand how painful loneliness could be, and isolation could be at a very young age. Fast forward the pandemic, right? People were changing their situations. They were, there was a political situation going on, but more so, people were transitioning. They were moving out of the cities. They were moving for many reasons. But some were moving back in with their parents. Some job situations had changed. They were working from home. Kids were home. So I really started recognizing that pervasive loneliness in people. And I thought to myself, well, how can we help overcome this? Technology is such a beautiful thing in many ways, but in many other ways, it's caused the dynamic of socialization to shift. And so people have a lot of friends online, but they don't have a lot of friends up close and personal. And that's a necessary form of friendship too. So I decided at that point, when the pandemic hit and I was watching this unfold, I said to myself, well, I know there's a way to overcome this. And I had been walking regularly as well with a friend. She became quite terrified by the pandemic. I did not. She took a different course of action. I no longer could walk with her because she just no longer wanted to come out of the house. And so I said, well, what am I going to do? So I reached out to the community to see if maybe other people would want to walk with me outside safely. And so many people responded. It was ridiculous. So I took all those responses and I pulled them into a questionnaire, and that began the formation of the app. And not only do I have a ton of new friends myself, but I used all that information to create this app and give that opportunity for friendship to other people. So that's how I came about.
I never thought about, until this pandemic, how many people are affected by being closed in, like not going anyplace. And I don't have this kind of problem. I actually enjoy my alone time, and I always, I was telling you earlier that I never run out of things to do, such as yourself.
Right.
And so I'm completely different. Like I go on my walks completely alone, and I have no trouble, with conversation because I'm constantly talking to myself.
Right.
So
Right.
it's my me time for getting it together, and that's my way of clearing out a little bit. But a lot of people, my father, God bless his soul. I told my daughter, had he passed away in 2019, had he been alive for 2021 and 22 and all that, I would have had to go and take care of him because he's the kind of guy, he can't stay in the house. He's in and out, back and forth, back and forth. At 92 years old, he was still that guy.
Right.
And he would have gone, when his car would break down, he'd be crying to me because it's like he expected the mechanics to like just drop everything because his car was broken. And and I'm going, man, this is a grown man, and I've never seen this, but it happens to a lot of people. And,
It happens. Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Well, how does your app, what is it? It finds locals? How does that work?
It's geared more towards locals, but you can go national and find people too. So if, let's say, for instance, if you're traveling and you want to take a walk with someone in California, but you're from New York and you don't know anybody in California, it will move with you. So you can find people in the area, and it's centered around the parks. So the first question would be like, what's your favorite park to walk in? So people can understand, hey, in Ohio, there's this park. And if you happen to be in that area, that's a park. And do you walk? It drills down to the point of, do you walk with a dog? And if you walk with a dog, how big is your dog? And so because people are very quirky about like the pets, some people just don't want to walk with the dog along. So, but so that's what we do, and we just then we introduce you according, to the area that you live, and you make these new friends, and you set up walks, and you like to walk in the morning. You meet people walk in the morning, in the afternoon. We really have some interesting questions there, but it's basically they feed into the type of person you are. Are you more of an evening person? Are you more of a morning person? Are you more so? But to the point, to your father, what's interesting is people don't understand that what do they say? They say that loneliness will kill you faster than smoking a pack of cigarettes a day.
Yeah, that's mind-boggling to me.
Right?
Yeah.
And then you look at the epidemic. I mean, if the U.S. Surgeon General has suffered with this, there's a huge epidemic, study upon study. If you go by what the major universities say, Harvard studies of like, how lonely people are, and not just your age, my age, older age, although the elderly do suffer with a tremendous amount of loneliness and isolation, but our youth are struggling with loneliness, and they are really having a hard time breaking out and just having normalcy in that regard. I know I talk with my hands. I'm sorry, I'm Italian.
No, it's okay. They because the kids don't go out. They're playing, games in their house. They don't go out of their room anymore. I mean, the old pictures you see, it's like where everybody's at because there's a million bicycles in the front yard. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We used to be, right? We used to be outside all the time. Our parents would just let us go. That doesn't happen today. So they really have a hard time. So they said to me, as I was going through learning about that group too, they say to me that after college, that issue for them becomes huge, and I believe it, because after college you're not thrown in with a bunch of college kids and you're all figuring out your friends. Now it's real life. You're on your own, and who do they have to talk to? And they move away from their college friends, so now they go to all these new situations and they don't know how to deal, because I've never had to deal like what we had in our past.
They don't socialize. They don't have the same type of, I made it a point, still do, when I was raising my daughter as a child. It's like, and I tell her, I said, when you get out of high school, you're going to not see a lot of people. The only reason they were your friends is because they were in front of you, at that point. Same thing with elementary school. But I said, you got to be out there or you're going to, the world isn't going to come to you. And a lot of these kids are so isolated. They don't know how to be.
No.
It's sad.
And that's why I think it's so depressed. I think that's why they're going through so much depression. I truly believe this one statement. I see it. Like I travel a lot. I travel internationally a lot. And I see how people socialize internationally. And I think the United States truly, truly has traded ease for their health. I really do. But I think they have. I think we have it so easy, to the point where it's an unhealthy amount of easiness. And we we complain that we have it so hard, but we don't. We have it so easy, to the point where it's devastating our mental health, our physical health, and everything that goes with it. I look at, when I'm traveling, I look at the airports and I see how the obesity and the unkeptness, and everyone's just looking. I've got my phone. That's all they're doing. They're just looking on their phone, like they can't. No one can look up. No one can sit next to someone and actually have a conversation. All of that's been taken away because everything is so easy now through the computer and through the phone. And I don't think it's boding well for humanity overall. It's definitely not in the United States.
No, we've got. I think the again. I read this thing about generations. On hard times, and then you want to make it better for the next generation. We've made it so good that we're digging a deep ditch, and we're gonna have to go back into very hard times again before. But I blame a lot of parenting on the self entitlement. Like they didn't teach their kids anything. They just kind of put them on autopilot and let the computers and the games raise them. And now I get it. Life's, everybody's hustling. We're two parents have to work and this and that. But I don't know. I still say that, that's your main investment right there, your child. You have children. How many do you have?
I have 5.
5. And you did it on your own, unfortunately.
I did. And so I think I can speak to this really well because I was running a number of companies. I was at the same time, I'd lost my husband to cancer. I had to do a turnaround on 2 of those companies. I launched a third, an idea that I had as a kid, which ended up being the TV show, the kids' TV show. While I'm doing all this, and I had very minimal help at home, and I decided to have very minimal help at home because I didn't want to lose a grasp over my children. So I purposely put myself through more of a hardship to be on top of my kids and to actually have give them a parent relationship that they could thrive from. Now, it cost me, my amount of energy I had to use all the time was significant, right? But it taught me a lot. My oldest son is 30. He's married, and he is an orthopedic surgeon resident in spine. My second is engaged. She's 28. She runs a department at Mayo Clinic in technology. My third is in medical school down in Washington, D.C. She's almost graduated. My fourth finished UC San Diego. She's been traveling for the year, helping to rebuild third world countries. She's now in Australia. She's spending the next year there, and then she's going to begin again. She's building up her savings, and then she's going to begin again and start traveling again. She wants to become an international attorney, so she's spending time doing that. And then I have a fifth child from a very short second marriage, and he's a great kid, and he's very basic, down to earth. And they have gone in and out of using social media more or less. But there were certain things that I did when they grew up that I think made all the difference. One of them was I never made it easy on them. I love them to death, but I made them work. On the weekends, we would go up. We would go to Connecticut, where I ended up buying a small beach cottage to heal the family. There wasn't TV. The only thing we do was we watch Blockbuster at that point. Blockbuster films. We ate cold chicken, and that's it. We spent time outside at the beach, and so I was very active in molding them. The great kids were all close, and I'm very proud of them. So I think I can speak to the kid thing when I say that I think I understand kids. I think I understand what they need, and I think we've gotten so far away from that in everything that touches them, whether it be in how they're being parented, how technology is impacting their lives, how television is impacting their lives, and just across the board. I think that we're not doing them a service in any of these areas to the point that we actually really could be. And we could be losing generations to come without any type of return. I don't want our kids to continue on the way they're going because they're struggling with depression, and they're struggling with understanding human beings. And they're having a hard time having and maintaining relationships. It's not a good situation. It's not a good situation.
Look, I think there's basically 3 types of parenting that has gone on over these past generation and a half or so, and it's the you, I think, and the me that keeping your finger on them because you want them to have the best, but you don't want to. I think there's the parents that want them to have everything that they didn't have, or they're fortunate enough, and they just keep giving them, but they're flooding them without any effort, and so they don't know how to take care of themselves. And then you have the parents. There are a lot of parents that just have kids, and they're just like, well, figure it out. It's just like they had the kids, but not the responsibility to go with it. And then there's the parents, like I said, that you and I'm so concerned to make sure that I want to make sure that my daughter grows up to be somebody, because this world is not getting any easier, and it's not going to be very forgiving. And thank God she's got her head on straight. She has a lot of common sensibility. I think we've lost our common sense, period. And this is going to be with every conversation we're going to have.
Yeah, I think so too. I think we really have lost it completely. I see so much of what I see in the news, and I'm sure you see it too, where it doesn't make logical sense. And I'm trying to figure out how that addition is happening, because I want to know how it's happening, because it only makes me better in my being able to respond to it, right? But there's such a lunacy out there right now. The way they're adding things up it's just so, I'm not going to say wrong, because I think that's a bad word in this sense, but I think it's not, it's off somewhere. Right. And we need to get it back on. And it's hard. If you had a building that you wanted to demolish because you wanted to build something new there, you can demolish that building in roughly a week, by taking it down and cleaning up all the debris and hauling it away. But to rebuild that building, it'll take a year or two, So this is what's happening with us right now. We're everything's getting demolished, and you're saying, you want it to build back better, or however you want to, but there ain't nothing being built, and there's nothing back, and there's nothing better right now. Yeah, it's really tough, and I think that's what I'm addressing it at the Western Journal. Let's go to the Western Journal. That's my next thing right now, because time is flying big time. Oh God! It is. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, we're not. So the Western Journal. This is how I picked you up, because I started reading some of your articles that you're writing. How often do you write for them? As much as I want. Really? Okay. As much as I want now, because Would you say once a week, twice a week, every day? I committed to at least twice a week. And during the summer, I said 2 to 3 times a week during the summer, and then we'll see where it goes depending upon my schedule in September. But I committed to 2 to 3 times a week. So right now I'm doing about that. Okay. So what I noticed on the articles that you write for the Western Journal, I don't want to tippy toe around it. I think it's more politically driven of a publisher. It is. Okay. It is. This is what caught my ear, because coming from Connecticut and things like that, and I hate to say left and right and all this kind of stuff, because I just want common, just the decency. But I'm watching things that you're writing, and you're really kind of not outspoken about common decency and what's right. Although you're going to have people that are going to look you dead in the face and say you're completely wrong. But let's talk about some. Is it fair to say that you're writing a lot about what's going on in this country and like the shambles that we are in? That is very fair to say. I am. Okay. We are in a shambles, and I decided. I think I spent the last few months tiptoeing around the conversation, tiptoeing through the conversation, right? And I decided finally, when this all came up, because I've written for American Thinker, and oh my gosh, the backlash you get when you start writing in this realm, it's mind boggling, even from people that you've known, right? But I didn't want to tiptoe anymore. I don't think we're at the point in our country where we can tiptoe. And I think we're all hands on deck at this point. And so, I looked at it, I said, well, my kids eventually will have their own kids. I don't want to leave a country to them that, it's a third world country. And in essence, or it truly is, there is a lot of crazy going on out there. And now it's become in your face And at this point, you have to call it out, because if it's in your face and you don't do anything about it, then you're basically just handing over your country, right? And I don't think we can hand over this country. This country is a beautiful country. And I think this country has been shadowed with such negativity. Like, all we do is we look at the bad parts of it, but there are some incredible parts of it, and there has always been. And every country comes with a history that's imperfect, absolutely. But we're a young country yet, and we have a lot of growing to do. And I think that, will we destroy it before we really even get it off the ground? Honestly, will we? That it looks like we possibly could. And look, we're a young country, but we have been the greatest country in the world. Everyone has looked to the United States. We're handing that over to God knows who. And I'm not going to go down without a fight. I'm not going to stand by and just say, oh, well, what are we supposed to do? Well, at some point you do have to speak out. And that's what, I will have to skip to this for a second, because you mentioned it early in the beginning of your show. And I'm going to tell you, I did see Sound of Freedom. And you mentioned that there are like 10 tickets out there. Well, there are tickets out there for free. So I was one of the people that paid it forward. And I bought 10 tickets for people to go and see that movie for free. Because whether you can pay for tickets or not, you shouldn't miss this movie, because it definitely reveals an issue in our nation that needs to be rectified. And for the love of children, my gosh, if you love a child, any child, your own child, or you're an aunt, if you love a child, you need to go see that movie. So
they're just helpless, defenseless beings. I mean, it's not, subjected to these people with heartless people, ruthless, and it blows my mind. I mean, I just don't understand it. But here's the thing, Laura, you're going to get people with what you write. I love what you write about in the Western Journal. Real quick, and then I want to get back to my question. Where do people find the Western Journal? Where is it located at? Is it a internet blog, or
it's online. It's westernjournal.com. So yeah.
Okay, because I am in on. I hate to say it, but I mean, I'm with it. With what I truly believe in, what you're writing is true about things. But there's going to be people, and I know they could be your closest friends, that will start disassociating with you, going, "You're crazy," And, I mean, they are just. But true. They are just as solid in their beliefs, opposite of what you're saying. That I completely disagree with what's going on with the administration that's being run right now. I mean, it's getting ready to go down in flame, and it's getting ready to take us down with it. However, you're going to meet up. There's plenty of people that watch the news, and they go, "The news just said," and I understand these people's mentality, because you used to trust the news, and they're going, the news can't lie. But I found out that the news can lie now, and all of them don't care about anything except headlines. But brainwashing, I never realized that. How can you be brainwashed? That's like crazy stuff. We've experienced over the past 3 years. It is truly effective, and the fear mongering and all that is worked amazingly well. And look what's going on around us. How do you deal with it?
So I have to tell you a great story. I had written an article one time. I'll tell you how I deal with it. And it comes from someone who I actually really adore, who is more on the left. And he's a left-leaning writer and editor. And I had written this conservative piece at one point, and he said, could I republish this? And I said, sure, you can republish this. And ended up getting a lot of flack, because he's putting in a left-leaning, place. And he goes, Laura, he goes, realize that the more criticism you get, it means the more impact that you're having. And I always took that forward with me. And I think that's the case. I don't care that people are angry with what I've written, because I know that what I'm writing is solid. And I see very clearly what has gone on across this nation. And I think a lot of where we're at has everything to do with greed. And everything is about money right now. It's a money play from every which way. And the people are caught in the middle. The children are caught in the middle. Left and right are caught in the middle. And, and this divide is what's killing us. This divide is what's going to hand them,
Sure.
whoever them is, our country. And
Sure.
so I'm willing to go to the mat and share my voice and share my opinions, because if one person hears it, then there's a possibility that the next person will hear it and the next person will hear it. And at the end of the day, when I go to sleep at night, it's just me and God. And, if I didn't do this, I don't think I could easily go to sleep at night, because I know. And if you know and you don't do something about it, then you're just part of you're just part of what's handing over the country.
Yeah.
So I that's how I deal with it. That's how I do.
You have roughly 1,000 people or less that have nothing that are very, very wealthy, that are deciding our fate in the world, that have self-appointed themselves as the knowing all and better than what we should be, and we are falling into this. Everybody's it's going to be too late to try and now I just keep hearing how they're trying to crash the system for our money, and crash the whole money system. That kind of bothers me, because what do you do then?
That should bother you. Will we even have an election?
Yeah, well,
there's plenty of people that believe that we're not going to have an election, and plenty of people that I listen to, that I know, who are from other countries that came here for the freedom, who has seen this in their own countries, who are convinced that at the end of the day, and I'm going to say his name, Trump. At the end of, he's going to get banned now, but at the end of the day, if he becomes the candidate and he starts winning, we're not going to have an election. Something's going to happen. And why should I, I'm not going to say that they're wrong, because I've seen this in other places. So, I try to keep my ear to the ground all the way across the board. We are in Crazyville right now. There's no doubt about it. Right, up is down, down is up. If you speak the truth, you're going to get censored. If you lie, you're going to be the golden child. The agenda is there. Everybody knows it. And those that speak it, they get crucified. But you still have to speak it. So
I think there's going to be a point. I mean, if they keep on pushing and just doing what they want, there's going to be a point to where the people are going to say enough is enough. You saw on TV with those two Indian guys that were running the 7-Eleven, beat the guy with the stick. That's enough is enough.
That is enough is enough.
And
It
worked. It worked.
It worked. And you know what? The January 6th riot didn't deter those two gentlemen. You know what I'm saying? And that's what's happening right now. That's what's happening right now. But what is that going to lead to?
Well,
because what is that going to lead to? And that's where I say, will we have an election? Because, I'm not sure we will. We should. I know it's on the docket, but will we?
I can't see where the people would allow this. I mean, the people who believe, who would not accept not having an election. I can't see how that we just say, okay, that's like pushing it way too far.
Well, what if they create a situation, because they know Donald Trump is going to win.
Yeah.
Let's just say, all right, what if they're not going to allow that to happen? So he's either going to be, something's going to happen to him, or we're going to go down to martial law, or they're going to push it to the point where he doesn't win. And then they're going to create a situation where, where people are going to look. January 6th was the shot fired around the world. If you do this, this is how this is going to happen. You can't stop us. And so far they've been true, right? That was the lesson. Now they're watching to see if it took. And I think that I don't know what's going to happen at the end of the day. I don't put what you're saying as being anything but a possibility because I don't know at what point people in the United States will break and just say, I don't care anymore. It will happen, but they've really let this go on a long time.
That's
You know,
because everybody they've done well at dividing us, and they've done a great job at that. I mean, people that are best friends do not talk to each other. Families do not talk, because of one person sees it one way. I believe it's the lesser of both evils because I think that they're all on the same team, but Trump just happens to give a little more of a shit than the rest of the greedy
right.
ones, and he says, you know what, we can do this, but we're gonna, this is America. We're still going to keep America, America. He goes against the grain and doesn't follow their plan completely, but yet he still has to answer. I still believe he's answering to somebody because I watch him tippy toe once in a while around certain subjects, like COVID and the shot and all that. Even he's being told things, so
Yeah.
he can't know everything. But I don't know. To me, it's like you only got two choices at this point. So we know what's going on in both directions, but yet some people still believe that the way we're going right now is the best way.
They truly do, and there's nothing you can do to, it's I hate to say it this way, but I learned long ago you can't talk sense to a crazy person. They're crazy. So you have to sort of get people in the middle, which is, if you can possibly do that. But it's interesting. I'm a Trump person. I really love Trump, and not to say he's perfect. I don't think he's perfect. I do think his tweeting went way overboard, but I get why he did it. I also think the other person that really, really jazzes me as far as just a person and who has common sense values and whatnot, and is that Vivek Ramaswamy.
He's good,
He's
but
so smart.
But it's not his time.
It's not his time, but I tell you,
he's good.
He is so smart.
Yeah.
He's so clear.
Yeah.
He's such a he's got solid principles. He doesn't back down. He says what he feels is right. He's not wishy-washy. He's dependable.
He's well spoken.
He's really just. I realize that it's not his time, and you need someone to go in there and clean house. But could you imagine what that cleaning house looks like? Will there be one person less, Trump or Matt Gaetz, possibly, or Jim Jordan, going to be in there left because that cleaning house, I think, and there's an equal number of rhinos to bad Democrats. And for the record, I love Joe Manchin. I do. I think he's a great guy too. I don't see him as running for president. Maybe he will, and he won't get it. But I do like Joe Manchin. But there are a lot of rhinos in there.
There's lots of look. I have videotapes of Lindsey Graham talking about what a great person Joe Biden is. I got the video right now. I mean, I loaded up because I've had it for what a great person. And now he's kissing Trump's ass like it's no tomorrow. He's got his nose so far up his ass. He's a two-faced son of a bitch. And I'll say it right now. He's just one of the many.
Lindsey Graham sickens me. I'm sorry. He is just so unbelievable. I just can't even watch him anymore. He's just so unbelievable.
Mitch McConnell, I'm glad he's. I hate to say it, but he's on his way out too, and all all these people that they got to go. But we are in bad times right now, and I don't know. Like I said, I watch a lot of different things from a lot of different angles, and I gotta. Man, we are over time already. But. So I don't know what's who do you believe, but I just can't believe that we are going to go down in flames. I can't believe that we the people are going to allow this in the very end to just be taken over.
I don't think at the very end we will. I just don't think it. I just don't. I don't. Did you see this? Thinks it. It's 10 o'clock. I just don't think it. I think we're better than that. I think the American people are stronger than that. I think they love this country, and they love their history. And even though they keep trying to bury it, no one's going to forget what veterans did for our nation. No one's going to forget that. My own family had many veterans in it. No one's just going to, turn their back on. There's a lot of, and I'm not going to just say the good old boys. I think just true patriot Americans, whether you're from the South, the North, the East, the West, or the middle states, the flyover states, I think there are too many of us that just love this country too much. We're not going to do it.
We are too busy worrying about the trans swimmer, being on the girls' team. Like I said, and Bud Light and all this 1% of 1% crap, and I'm just so sick of it. But they've done a great job at just confusing everybody, and they've done a wonderful job at that. I got to give them credit, but this boy ain't playing that. I don't play that shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. Yeah.
I got to keep going because I was supposed to stop 6 minutes ago. Real quick, your blog ThreadMB. Now you talk a lot about stuff on that, but it seems like that blog is a lot about day-to-day everything from entertainment to styles to everything. What is that all about?
Well, we do a variety. It's really just the other side of life for Laura, and I do sometimes allow people to contribute to it, but for the most part it's covering a lot of different things. Like I recently wrote a couple of pieces for She Knows, which their new magazine Flow, and I talked about frequency healing and vibrational therapy and things like that, things that I've found over the years to either work or found an interest in. Like I said, I've done a ton of interviews all the way across the board. A lot of celebrities. I've interviewed a ton of celebrities. I've also people I like. I handpick my celebrity. I do. If I like you and I respect you, I'll consider writing about you. But I don't do it the other way around. And
seems like you're doing a lot of trendy stuff, more trendy stuff. Is that true?
Yeah.
Okay. Not as much political. Just kind of trendy, middle of the road, something you'd see in a magazine rack at the grocery store. Am I right or wrong?
Right.
Okay.
Right. That's what
Gotcha.
we do.
All right. Well, so you're doing that, and that's ThreadMB. That's also another streaming blog, right?
Right.
So it's ThreadMB.com.
ThreadMB.com. Yeah.
All right. Look, I knew this was gonna get like this. I told you, and it is. So we could have spent just on the first subject an hour on each subject. It's just so easy to do. Well, that's okay. That's a great thing because that means you have something to give. You know what I mean? We're just not talking just mumbo jumbo. There's something worthy of being said because it's coming out very easily. So that tells me, that's why I don't mind it. And believe me, one day maybe I'll get lucky enough and just start doing a 3-hour show. But right now, this one's going to be like an hour 20. So, and that's 16 more than I should have. But I knew that we couldn't get to everything, but we touched on this. I wanted to catch up with you. I'm glad I got to catch up with you. I hope that I'll get to catch up with you, again in the near future. I really told you when we were talking, when I called you weeks ago and months ago, whatever it was, that I wish we could. I love the one-on-one in person. To me, that is the ultimate. I've gotten to where I want to be because I love being face-to-face with people, having a great conversation, not an interview. This really wasn't an interview, nor are any of my shows. They're conversations, and I'm proud of that. Because you had something to say and you do something. You don't just wait for the world to come to you. You're out there putting it out there every day. And I thank you for that and for being on my show.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Let's do this real quick. If people want to find you, they could find you over. You said you want people to go over to your www.threadmb.com. They can read about you, and then there's contacts
absolutely. Yeah, there are contacts there for me, so just send any messages over there, and I'll make sure that I receive them. So
is there links over to your Western Journal and all that too?
Yeah, they'll be able to find some of the articles from the Western Journal on there too, and I link directly to the Western Journal. So yeah, they can go and they'll see my byline there too. So
good, because I think your Western Journal stuff. Again, I'm right there with you on your beliefs because I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm just correct.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, I tell everybody back during the Obama days, I kind of was I wasn't complaining about him. I just thought he was a good speaker, and I knew he was put in there, but I didn't realize how bad it was. I was that person who was just going through life with no, just going through life. And little by little, things started catching on. And then, especially once Trump came in, because I knew for sure that Hillary Clinton was not going to be. My father, was a Democrat. We came from Connecticut too, my family, and they, the northeastern. It's all a Democratic. You were raised like that, so that's all. It's all you know. If you're raised to speak Greek, you're going to speak Greek. That's all you know. So my father still because I remember they voted for Bill Clinton back in the day, and it was okay. I believe that what do we believe, but things are not what they are anymore. Democrat is not Democrat anymore, and Republican is not Republican anymore. Yeah. I just, like I said, you got to pick which of the better of both evils you want, because nobody is really working that hard for you. But it just seems like Trump is willing to stick his neck out, and I know that people don't like him personally, but I can't. His things that he had in place. Nobody's going to tell me that we're doing better than we were when he was in there. That they're crazy.
I know. And I know you want to end your show, but I have to say this because I can't end the show without saying, isn't it such a shame? Isn't it such a shame that we feel like our government cares so little for us? Like we have to sit here and we have to talk about, we're talking about how much our government cares so little for us. Cares not at all for us. They're all fighting among themselves to see who can make the most money among themselves. They have no time to govern us because they're all too busy screwing around.
Laura, there are people in the other side, our friends that won't talk to us, that think they're doing a great job. They're giving us, look, they're paying our student loans, and they're going to do this, and they're going to.
Except they're not.
I know, but and then I'm still seeing every day on Facebook, lock him up. Lock him up. These people that are they want to throw Trump in jail. They're not paying attention to all that Biden's getting ready to go to, things are getting ready to really start looking pretty bad. All these things, but all they're focused on is, lock him up. It's like, it just blows my mind. It's like, what people are taking in and what they're comprehending, period.
It definitely is very colored in its own way. But I think, it's just, and I'm thinking about it today. I'm like, I can't believe that we don't have a government today. There's no government. Our country is running like we have no government.
Michelle,
they're not working for us.
One of the comments that Michelle, there's a commenter on, and there is a law, and I can't remember the name of it, and I just saw it today too. But I was going to do a show on it coming up in the future. That Obama repealed a law that because they follow the news, and they're saying there's no way the news is going to lie to us. Well, there's a law that Obama repealed that allows the news to just say whatever the hell they want with no, there's no, after effects from it. So, but people don't understand that. The news isn't going to lie to us. The news doesn't care anymore. Our news is just as bad as it is in Venezuela.
So my mom came from East Germany, so she saw the writing on this wall for a long time in her life, so I think, even though I've been in New Jersey, Connecticut, I grew up with a mom who came from a country like that. So, at the worst time of being in East Germany. So, she saw it.
If you tell a lie long enough, it becomes the truth. And I'm watching it before my very eyes. I'd never believed that we are in the situation and the beliefs that, we're against each other. And it's so sad, but here we are. But one thing I know for sure is you're here and I'm here, and we're going to keep on doing what we're doing. And I don't want to, slap people into reality. But again, if we can reach one, that's one. And so that's why you're on the show tonight. I love what you're writing for the Western Journal. I'm also peeking in on your Thread MBs. And again, I've been following you, since we became friends several years ago. So I do want to thank you for taking the time to be on the show. I know it's late over there, but you're doing a good thing. So, is there anything you want to leave my audience with before I let you go?
No, just keep reading, keep getting informed. That's all. Keep watching Peter. Keep watching Peter.
Oh, yeah.
Keep informed.
That'll do it. Yeah, all right, listen, I want to thank you for taking the time, and again, I hope that this show, goes on to reach the many from my end and yours, and that's all we can do is do what we're here for. Because if we didn't say anything, again, it's shame on us. So you're doing a good thing. All right, I love you. Thank you very much, and I'll be talking to you down the road, and I hope maybe I'll get to see you again soon, and we'll be able to talk about much nicer things on how well we're doing or the world is doing in all.
That would be great. All right.
Everybody wave to Laura one more time. Laura, wave to my people. You can find her on www.threadmb right there. All right, sweetheart.
All right.
Don't stay up late. Thank you so much.
All right. I will.
There we
Bye.
go. I could talk to her for hours because it's, she writes good stuff. If you want to find her, keep up with her. Go to ThreadMB, find her at Western Journal. You have to go beyond these news articles. You have to do the research, but that's the problem. People don't have the time. They won't take the time. And you have to read between the lines. I trust no one anymore. Don't even believe me. So whatever we're saying, go find the facts are there. That's the whole thing. The facts are right around us. Nobody will take the time. We're living in too fast-paced of a world. All right, I'm out of time. I want to thank Laura Wellington for coming on this show. Truly an honor to, and I'm a blessing to be able to talk to her, because we need more people that care about this country and care about our world like her and our children. It's important. I want to remind everybody, next week, August 16th, Wednesday, family law attorney Kelly Chang Rickard's going to be on this show. She's got a children's book out, or two. I think she has several books out, children's books. She's a family law attorney, human rights and children's advocate. She's really another one who's become pretty outspoken on humanity. She's going to be on this show. I'm dying to talk to her too. Big fan of hers as well. And she's going to be on this show right here next Wednesday. I was going to say Sunday. Next Wednesday, August 16th. Right here on Life of Peter G, The Peter G Show, 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, and 9 p.m. on the East Coast. Lastly, my plea for help on YouTube. Please go over to YouTube and hit the subscribe button. Look up Peter G Show and just hit the subscribe button. It takes, a minute, and it's free. It's easy breezy. Let's move the needle over there, folks. I got to keep getting the word out on YouTube, and we have to grow, and they are making it difficult for me. But the only way to beat them and to grow, they will allow me, but they're not letting me be seen. So I have to move people over there. Please just go hit the subscribe button. Let's get those numbers up, and then I'll start spreading, because it just falls into their algorithms that they're not letting me have yet to a certain point. So please do that. And don't forget, for those of you who want to watch the Peter G Show but are busy with work or driving or anything like that, put an earbud in your ear, Google Peter G Show podcast. Take the show on the road with you on 25 or 27 different platforms: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, you name it. You can listen to the show. It's the next best thing to being there. And then when you get the chance, you can pull on demand any show you want. There's over 300 of them with, many different topics. And if you have the chance, then you can watch the show. Just throw it up on the big screen and watch the old Peter G Show right here. I want to thank everybody for watching. I truly am grateful to be in this seat. I thank God every day. I do, actually many times a day, because I need all the help I can get. Life isn't easy. Everybody's got their struggles. Everybody. And, you have to keep pushing forward. I say this a million times. It could always be worse. The man who doesn't have shoes and the man who doesn't have any feet. I mean, there's just, it can go on and on. So be grateful for whatever position you're in. It could always be worse, and just do the best you can. And that's all you can do. You are who you are, and that's good enough. My name is Peter G. I want to thank you for watching Life with Peter G, The Peter G Show. Reminder, go check out Laura over at www.threadmb.com. It's time to go, folks. I thank you for watching. I truly do. Life is full of choices. I know that you have tons of choices on what you could be doing for an hour of your time, or an hour plus of your time. And therefore, like I said, that's why I love each and every one of you. I'm busy. It's hard for me to pick and choose what I can and cannot do, or want to do and can't do. But for those of you who choose to watch me and watch the show and the great guests that I have on the show, I truly, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for every minute that you give me. And I hope to continue to keep bringing you things that will interest you and help. I know I want to have fun and have laughs, but but at the same time, I want to do some good. So your contributions to continuing to share this show and watch this show is the greatest gift I guess I could have. So I thank you. My name is Peter G. Thank you for watching Life with Peter G, The Peter G Show, every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, and 9 p.m. on the East Coast, God willing. As always, be kind. You don't have to take a lot of crap from people, but you don't have to be an ass either. Life is short. So hang in there. We're all going to get through this together. You're not alone. That's why I'm here. So that to tell you that you're not alone. As always, I love you guys. Peace out.
Peter G Show, Peter G Show, divorced dad, single dad.